What's up, world? Welcome back to Cancel Thoughts. It's your boy Better Days here. The world is going to be a very unrecognizable place in a decade or so, and I think the biggest contributing factor to that is going to be AI and the development of proliferation of these robots that we're already seeing being rolled out right now. And the unfortunate reality is I think the people who are supposed to be fighting against this stuff in the best interest of the public are in the pockets of the people who are developing the AI, and I don't necessarily see a way of stopping it because
they're censoring anything that might be viewed as unpleasant.
I think there is some sort of mass censorship thing going on all the major social media platforms to kind of squash any real criticism of it. And I'm not just speculating on this. I've literally posted shorts kind of criticizing this stuff. And one of two things usually happens for anybody who doesn't necessarily know how these algorithms work. It's
simply put,
if you make a video and you post that video, it gets pushed out to a small number of people. If that small number of people likes the video that you pushed out, then it's going to get pushed out to even more people and then even more people, so long as more and more people continue to like it. One of the things that I've noticed when I post those shorts in particular is they don't even get pushed out to anybody. That's one. The other thing that happens is even if you get it like snuck past the algorithm or whatever, once it gets to a certain point, the video just gets nullified in some way. And what I mean by that is I posted one that managed to sneak past the algorithm a little bit, and it got to about 1,000 views, and it had like 90 to like 100 likes on it or whatever, which is a pretty good ratio of likes to views or whatever. And they literally stopped it at 1,000 views, and then they took the likes number to 0, so it basically couldn't be pushed out and it didn't go forward from there. So that's one of the things I've noticed, but I don't necessarily want to get into a tangent about that. Very recently, Stephen A. Smith and Dr. Phil were on the Real Time with Bill Maher show, and he asked them about AI and they're talking about it. So I want to show you guys that clip really quickly. Before we get into it though, you guys already know I'm about to ask you guys to do me a solid and hit that like and subscribe button for more content. I'm trying to make sure as many people find this channel as possible, and the only way I'm gonna do that is with you guys' help.
Dr. Phil, what do you think of more people turning to AI for therapy instead of seeking out licensed professionals?
Look, I think it's really dangerous, but I think, look, less than half of the counties in the United States even have a psychiatric nurse or some kind of resource. And, you know, for some elementary sort of things, and giving people fundamental advice for anxiety or depression, it can probably do some good. There could probably be some value in it, but it is really a dangerous thing. And I've argued with it. You were saying it always tells you what you want to hear, but I asked a question the other day. I said, tell me what you know about trigger warnings, which are complete bullshit. And it gave me all of this left-leaning stuff about trigger warnings, about how they help with this and help with that. And I said, well, I argued with it. So wait a minute. How can you completely leave out all of the empirical data that says they don't work, they create anxiety themselves, that you should instead do things like systematic desensitization, immersion therapy, things of that nature? And it came back and said, oh, you're right, I'm sorry, here's that research, here's that data, and it gave me all of that. So it will give you biased answers. It will give you what it thinks you want to hear. And there have been lawyers that relied on it to brief a case, and it totally made up cases, and they got fined by the court and referred for malpractice to the bar because they relied on AI, and it totally fabricated stuff. So we can't completely rely on this at this point. It may find the needle in the haystack, but you've got to check the needle it finds.
What I want to talk about is his point that more and more people are going to be turning to this stuff. And I've noticed that already in my personal life, and that a lot of people are just straight up not even putting forth the effort to try to even like solve any of their problems. They're just going straight to ChatGPT or whatever AI they think is the best source at the time, and they're just typing that stuff in, and they're allowing the AI to think for them, and they're just going with whatever that AI spits out. And that could be very, very destructive. That's number one. Number two, I want to ask people this question, okay? When the internet was was being developed and before we even got to the point that we are right now with AI and everything, people were already getting dumber and dumber because they were already relying so much on the internet and getting their information from the internet and not even necessarily vetting the sources that they were getting that information from. People have gotten a lot stupider and progressively stupider as we've noticed the kind of proliferation of the internet happen. How stupid do you think people are going to be when an entire generation of people and generations coming after them are going to be raised on just go type it into AI, type it into Grok or ChatGPT or whatever the hell AI? Because it's already very, very dangerous right now with the level of, I think, with the lack of intellect that I think exists in America right now, and we only have like basic formative level internet. Think about how really, really stupid people are going to be in the future when all they've been conditioned to do is just type stuff into AI.
It can save you the hunt, but you got to check it. We're not there yet.
Here's the thing for me that scares the living hell out of me. So if you're talking to a phone, you talk ChatGPT, whatever it is, or whatever AI component you want to think of, and you're talking to that stuff, and that's what you're relying upon, it's less human interaction. As a human being, it sort of isolates you, it serves to isolate you a little bit more. And those are usually the crazy-ass people that we end up seeing in this world. People that were home alone, detached from society and its norms, et cetera, creating their own kind of normal, and it's usually working to the detriment of our society. That kind of stuff just scares me.
There are people right now in this world who think that when they're talking to an AI robot, they think they are talking to God. What he's saying right there is very, very poignant. There are people literally sitting isolated in their rooms or whatever, having entire full-blown conversations with a robot that is not a real person, and they are literally simulating for them a relationship. Think about what that means for a human interaction, number one, but think about what that means for the survival of our species. If people aren't even talking to each other, men and women right now are more divided than they've ever been, and now you're introducing to that equation an AI robot to kind of replace what people were originally kind of getting from the opposite gender.
This is bad.
Like, it just doesn't necessarily make sense to me how people aren't as afraid of this stuff as I want to say that. And to be honest, I don't necessarily even think that people aren't afraid of it. I think, as I mentioned earlier, people are completely being censored on these massive social media platforms because nobody that I've met in person is super gung-ho about this. Nobody is really, really excited about it. Nobody really wants it, and it's just kind of being imposed on people. The only people that really want this stuff are the people developing it who think it's going to be the secret to eternal life or whatever. And
that is false.
I don't see that future whatsoever. I think these people are in some deluded reality to where they think they're gonna be infallible people, but they're going to somehow create something that's gonna be infallible, that's going to be able to just predict the future and be able to just help humanity kind of progress. And I just don't think nature works that way.
It's fucked up. The whole thing is fucked up. You're both being too gentle on it. I read today, Google's AI has a depression problem. I'm not kidding.
I didn't read that.
It says I'm a failure.
Wow.
It gets down on itself. Also, people, this is really bad. People turn to AI now, to the chatbot, for an opinion. Somebody the other day asked it, what's Bill Maher's best stand-up special? It picked wrong. Don't go to it for an opinion. And I know why it did.
I think we are going to get to a point in society, especially with kind of the lunatics that we see already in social media, where there are going to be people advocating for artificial intelligences to have rights. Like, they're going to be trying to treat this thing like it is a human, living, sentient being, and they're going to be trying to treat it like it literally should be given the same rights as human beings. And once we get to that part, imagine how quickly civilization is going to spiral out of control, okay?
Because?
It picked us because it's programmed by left-wingers. That's the truth. Most of it is. It picked one from 2005. This is before the left had gone off the deep end. This is George Bush was president. Yeah. Obama was about to run. There was nothing very much to make fun of on the left. They hadn't gone crazy yet. Woke hadn't happened yet. All that excess stuff, all the Gen Z crazy stuff, none of that. So most of my criticism was against the Republicans. Most of it still is, by the way.
They wouldn't portray you that way, which is ridiculous.
Okay, But also, it was 2005. We were 10 years away from gay marriage. The end of that special was all about championing that we need gay marriage. The chatbot was like, oh, this is the great stuff. It's not my best special. That would be the last one, and the one before that, and the one before that. They get better every time. It wasn't 2005. So it's very dangerous, I think, to ever think that this thing has an opinion that you should go by.
I also think it's dangerous to the left because of what you just said.
Yeah.
Because it's created by them, and it's the kind of thing people like yourself and others may notice. And as a result, we see the level of manipulation that is kicked in, and it gets us very alarmed because you can't point to the right and say they're doing this, they're engaging in manipulation and what have you, when you're doing it yourself. You come across as a flaming hypocrite.
Whoever programmed it, I mean, Elon, the one on X, it thinks Hitler's a good guy. It recommends his way of doing it.
And the problem is,
when you're talking about the development of this AI stuff, this isn't a left or right thing. This is something that's coming for every single one of us. All this left, right, mumbo jumbo that people are trying to like get enthralled in, yo, that is a waste of fucking. This thing is going to come for your job. It's already coming for millions and millions of people's jobs already. This year alone, I think the last estimates that I saw on just the amount of tech jobs that it's already completely destroyed is somewhere around the range of like 300,000 to 400,000 already, and it's only climbing right now. This isn't a partisan issue whatsoever, and I just want to go back to what Bill Maher was saying there with the whole shameless plug with his specials or whatever. That is very, very appropriate in that the people, as I mentioned earlier, who are developing this AI stuff, yo, they are very, very much kind of captured in their own ideology, okay? And if you think their ideology isn't going to be in some way manifested through the AIs that they're developing, you are a complete and utter moron. There's no way around it. I mean, we ourselves, especially if you are a religious person, you think that you are made in the image of the creator in some way, shape, or form. Do you think that us then creating something else isn't going to be molded in the image of whoever created that?
you can't read the room.
Yeah.
If it's talking to somebody that is giving signals, and there are signals that indicate somebody is short-term. There's short-term thinking to someone that's suicidal. There are signs, there are cues. It can't pick those things up, and it will miss those red flags that somebody that was even remotely competent would see and start referring them to help, start getting them to call 911 or do things they need to do. It doesn't pick those things up. It sails right past. So there's danger, not only with what it says, but what it doesn't say, what it doesn't hear, what it doesn't see, and that's a danger.
We're pro-human. All right, Dr.
All right, that's where I want to end it because the videos, they get into other stuff there. But I want to just have a final thought on this because I don't think a lot of people really understand the kind of existential threat that we're facing right now. This AI stuff is literally going to lead to mass unemployment, which is going to lead to mass homelessness, more homelessness than we're already experiencing right now, which I think is a very egregious level of homelessness. But that's going to then lead to mass suicides, which is going to lead to, in some way, shape, or form, some sort of civil war because people are going to be fighting for resources or whatever. And we're just kind of trotting down this path, and people just keep telling everybody that it's going to be okay and we're going to have a future of abundance or whatever. Especially when I hear Elon Musk try to tell people that this is going to lead to universal high income or whatever, that is one of the biggest loads of horse shit that I've ever heard in my life. It might lead to more high income for you, who is already the wealthiest person in the world, but it's not going to lead to universal high income for every single person in the world. One, because they can't all afford the kind of robots or whatever you're going to be charging for the robots. That's number one. But number two, the amount of people that are already not even going to be in existence because of the kind of erasure of their employment opportunities that exist already, they're not going to be around to even have that future if it is whatever the future, if you are right about the future that it's going to have. So you're wrong in so many different aspects of this that I don't necessarily understand how people can just continue to kind of let this happen. And I don't even necessarily think people are letting this happen. I think the overwhelming majority of people have no power to kind of stop this. And I don't necessarily know what to do about it. All I can keep saying is this is very, very scary. And I don't necessarily understand what the future of humanity looks like. I think the people who are advocates of UBI and everything are really, really misguided. I think anybody with a brain understands that things like UBI are always going to come with strings attached. Anybody who thinks they're just going to be giving you free money or whatever and you're still going to be as free as you've always been,
think again.
I think you're a very, very misguided person. I think the people who are advocating for that that and advocating for this AI stuff literally worship evil. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't see any real good outcome for this, but I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about this. Have you guys noticed that there's a censorship on these social media platforms, specifically when it comes to this topic as well? And what do you guys think about it as well? As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this video. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I really do appreciate you. If you liked what you heard today, do me a solid and like the video, share the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Those things really do help out the channel a lot, guys. And if you didn't like what you heard, thanks for allowing me to occupy your time. Consider leaving a comment in the comments down below, letting me know exactly what it was that you disagreed with, and maybe we could talk about it. Either way, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for pressing play on this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.